Hi, welcome to this video on my robotic arm and hand. Last time I reconstructed the lower gear so that it is much more rigid now, and I also decoupled the elbow motors from the gears, and it turns out that the lower gear functions quite well. However, it also turns out that the lower gear should have a sensor to stop the axis from hitting the construction. So I should somehow use a sensor like this to signal that. Also, I want to see if removal of the motors actually makes sense, and in addition to that I found that the interface extension is too short wired now, because with turning the whole arm causes this interface to be drawn away, or pulled away I should say. So the first thing I will do right now is to remove actually the motors on both sides, and to find out another thing as well, because when I move the arm freely, let me put the camera a little bit up, it can move quite a long way, and this is not the case when I do it with the motor, not as much anyway. So I want to see if I can change that. Enough to do. So the first thing I'll do is remove these motors and see what I can do with these sensors. So in this diagnostics interface I have used inputs 1 and 2, and when correctly wired they should be clearly signaling that the sensors are okay. And this should be 1, nothing happens. Yeah, that is 1. A little bit rewiring, and that's exactly the other way around. So now it is also the other way around, because I'm pressing and it goes off, while it should be go on pressing, and this is correct. Now I'm pressing and it says 1. So now I'm taking the other one, and with a little bit of rewiring, so it looks exactly the same. This should be 2, and it is 2, and it functions correctly. So that works. Now I have yet to see how to put them correctly in the gears. So let's see how I accomplish that. With the motors taken away and some rewiring done to this motor, so there is a longer wire. It also gave me the opportunity to rewire one of the sensors, so now they have some links at least, and one of the sensors will be somehow placed behind here so that it is being touched and pressed by this bar or axis, but the other one will have to point the other direction, so this axis will touch it in the other way, and that will be a little bit of a challenge, but it's the only way I can get it to work like that. Also, I want to see if this distance that it pulls, that it really reaches the full length that it has here. So first I want to do that, then I want to check if the switches are wired correctly, and then test. So let's first see how much is left here. And to do that I'm going to take the diagnostics interface again. And so far it doesn't do anything. That's correct, because I'm using the wrong motor. So as you can see, it is at its most, and the arm isn't even halfway, so there is much more possible. And if I point the camera a little bit higher, it is now here, which is at maximum for the gear, and it can all the way go down. So there's a lot to be gained, but as yet I don't know exactly how to accomplish that. But now the second thing I should do is test the sensors. With these two sensors being placed next to each other, the wiring has to be such, of course, that they don't interfere. So this is wire 1, and I will place the sensor in this direction. So I will rewire this. So that it somehow goes here, and this one will face the other way, which is correct. So somehow I have to find a way to put this one there, and for now I guess this could be a nice way. And the other one should be built in such a way that, of course, the bar is touching it, or the axis. However, there is also this thing So what I can do is change position, that they are placed like this, the flat sides against each other. And I think that would be a better solution. So placed actually like somehow like this. And then I have to rewire them, of course, but that would suit better. Yeah, this one should face this way. With this one facing the other way. And as such, they could be placed nicely somehow. So that's that would be step one, and they can be fixed using these notches. So let's see how that can be figured out. There is of course a way for this, and using this piece, however, they will not be at the same height, because considering this, they will be placed a little bit lower, and then this won't work. So I have to figure that one out. And well, I thought I had found a solution to bind the two sensors together. Looks very nice, but when I put them into place, and this is already a rather narrow fit, there's another problem, because together they won't go in, which is not because of the distance between the two, because that does fit, but because of this whole thing. And I'm trying to have them fit in. But apart from the top side, the underside isn't going along. So I have to find a different solution for this. The idea is nice, but I'm afraid that's all it is. So that is for one thing. I'll leave it for now. The other thing is the elbow. If you look at it, you can see it kind of leans over. And if I put this by hand, it straightens up. That's all because of the flexibility. I can't do much about it. However, what I can do now, I have decided not to use gears and motors in the upper side, is to remove the gears. And I've reconstructed the elbow many times. Last time to widen it so everything would fit, but then I found out that the lower gear actually does the job, so I can change that. Another thing I already mentioned last time is that I intend to move the sensors here, and let me show them more closely. These sensors, which are the same as the others at the lower gear, I want to put them inside more logically. But first, I guess I'll deal with these gears. So let's reconstruct once again. With the gears removed, it is obvious that it is rather wide now, and it can be as small as the base, so I can reconstruct that again, leaving more material to use in other places as well. And another thing I can do is, like I showed just now, is a reconstruction of the sensor, and I can try to do it with this one. So let me give it a try. If this will even work. Well, that's a big question. Because then it will look like this. And the big question is that nice or not? Would that work nicely? I'm not quite so sure. On the other hand, gripping it is nicer, because, let me adjust the camera, like this, it comes towards you, and if you go like this, it will be the other way around. So I think that is a better solution. So let me put it with this one as well. See how this works out. And the third one, I think I like this idea. I just have to put question is, why is this different? That is unknown to me. Why is this finger now different than the other? Let me put finger number 4 and see for the difference. Push the hinge back, shove it in. A little bit more. Oops, too much. Ah, see, that can be too. Okay. And this one forward as well. This one forward as well. I think I like this solution. And last, push the hinge back a little. Shove it in enough. And put this back in. And I think this is quite a nice solution. So let me start the program and see how this works out. Start the compressor. Oops. Yes. Oops. That works. That works. And yes. Yes. And this is the only downside at the moment. But why doesn't the second finger work? Yes. Yes. I don't like this one. Ah, contact is out. But the idea works and I like that. So I think time for now to move back to the sensors. So it has become clear that the two sensors next to each other will not fit here. Different solution will be, or could be, that this sensor will be here and this sensor will be here somehow. I have yet to find out how I can fix that, looks like easy enough, but the thickness of this material with possible solutions of this thickness is just too much. It doesn't fit, unfortunately. And how I can fix this is another question. I might even do something like this, one way or another. So if I turn this around, and put it like this, in theory it could work, but it won't because it's outside of the radius of this axis. But the idea is that it could work. I have to find that out. So work on that is to be done. And looking at the rest, this can be much smaller, and this can be brought smaller to the equal to the base. And I think for now, will that be it? I think I can still reconstruct this and see how that works out. Also, when this is getting smaller, a smaller axis can of course be put into it, like this axis. It's wide enough then. But for now I'll reconstruct this to get smaller. And let's see that yeah, I can do both. Yes, let's get it somewhat smaller. You can see the difference. Much smaller now than this one. So let me, while capturing it, recording it, reduce the length, the width of the other side as well. Taking out a lot of material. And this part, of course, will be kept. This one goes free. This one goes free. Here I need another part. I will put it on this side. For now I'm leaving this upper construction intact. I'm not sure if it's still needed. The long axis is still in there, but as you can see, it's better now. Let's turn it around to see. And this can still be made smaller, but I think this is nice for now. If I make it smaller here, then I don't think I don't think it's wise, by the way, because of the effect here, but I think that will be no different. So this distance will still be the same. And I think I'll leave that for today, for this episode. Still to do is the sensors. I have to figure out how that will work out. The hand sensors are much better, much more natural, although here there's a problem with the connector, the electric wiring, so I'll have to figure that one out, how to make that a little bit smoother. And that makes it look like a nice picture again. So for now, thank you for watching, and to be continued.